It's just too much. That's a big problem. It's just too much, man. I have over 5,000 hours in this godforsaken inventory management walking simulator with VFX, and I still ain't. What is that? I could get multiple bachelor's degrees with that amount of dedication, so I can finally afford all the supporter packs rather than being a little broke boy on some mystery box hodgepodge ass weak ass shit. Damn. I totally agree with Darth microtransaction though, that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if you just start playing the game, look up whatever new currency you just dropped, interact with its relevant system, and then rinse and repeat for everything in the game, it's really not that bad. If you try to take it all in at once, it's gonna hurt like when you fell from heaven, baby girl. Come here. Even though I agree with that sentiment, I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to do all that. That noise. I'm trying to play a game, not see how fast I can click in and out of 50 different pages of UI. Like, what the hell? The knowledge learning curve is just too steep, man. Imagine how broken the game would be if the balanced team developers just quit. Who would be able to nudge the numbers around each season without absolutely breaking something else? When a new employee whose whole job it would be to balance the game would need to earn a PhD worth of knowledge only to get outsmarted by Empyrean and his gaggle of divine printing mad lads. Imagine that job interview. Glad to have you on board, Wommy. Thank you so much, Chris Wilson. Glad to be on board. So here's your onboarding material. Oh. If you have any inquiries, you can just go ahead and ask anyone on the team here. We're all super friendly. It's just 144,762 pages of patch notes. Get to reading, you stupid fucking Yankee. Let's talk about that gameplay learning curve, because we're going to spend about 20% of the time actually fighting monsters and dodging projectiles and AoEs. So it makes sense that it wouldn't take that much time to master the action portion of ARPG. To be able to play the game sufficiently, movement and attack wise, probably going to take you a good 10 hours or so. Not nearly as close as to hard to master as Apex Legends movement or anything like that. It's pretty easy to pick up, to be honest. And then that's it. And then we get to the learning curve. To understand the game enough to know what's going on screen, it's going to take you about 50 hours or so. But you're still going to get one shot, check the clip, refuse to admit you don't actually know what's going on screen, and then title the clip "bugged game!" !rip in your Twitch VODs. Shout out Quid69. To understand the game enough to make your own build that's good. Around 150 hours. It's going to take you around 150 hours. And then you're going to get to red maps probably earlier even and wonder why your damage isn't scaling as much as the other builds on the front page of Twitch. And that's because you still haven't downloaded Path of Building, you fucking stubborn dummy. To understand the game, period, it's going to take you about 1,000 hours. But then you'll realize that the meta exists for a reason and that you can't really enjoy the game anymore unless you're one-shotting Uber Maven at level 82. But to fully understand the game is just a walking and inventory management simulator that you try and see how few of the game's mechanics you actually have to interact with, it's going to take you about 5,000 hours. And that's where I'm at. And that's only talking about if you're not trying to play competitively or race to level 100 or nab the first kill on an Uber endgame boss, or even RMT if you wanted to. If you want to do any of those things, well, then you're going to need to start measuring your playtime in days, not measly casual hours. Which I'm sure if you ask Mathel or Ziz or Ziggity how much how much playtime they have in the game, they would probably say something ridiculous like several years. Not weeks, not months, not days, not hours. Years. Bro, there's almost 10,000 hours in a year. They probably got around 50,000 hours or so, which is equivalent to like 20 bachelor's degrees worth of like class credits worth of time invested. The barrier to entry is so impossibly high for content creators or to play competitively in any way that you're better off waiting for PoE 2 because, well, that's an entirely different game. And I've played it at PAX West, so I know. Shit, I even met Chris Wilson on the way out randomly on the street alongside the team that managed the booth. By the way, Mr. Wilson, he was so nice. It was honestly ridiculous. I could tell he was extremely jet lagged and tired from working all weekend and interacting with everybody and traveling, and he still talked to me and a friend of mine for a couple minutes while walking down the street back to the parking lots or whatever. But back to PoE 2. Let me just say it passed the vibe check. As soon as you get your hands on Path of Exile 2, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Wait a minute, I changed my mind. Path of Exile's biggest problem isn't the bloat, it's not the gameplay, it's not the overwhelming amount of UI, it's that it's not Path of Exile 2. It's the end of an era. I know PoE 1 is still going to be available to play with continued support, and that's amazing. I'll still log in once in a while just to reminisce about farming Piety as the game's first real endgame boss. I'll still walk around with the Razor Footsteps NTX on and remember the last decade fondly. I'm gonna miss Path of Exile. But f all that sentimentality and shit. This game is fucking hype. Are you kidding me? We got more fucking AK-47s up in this bitch. Kuchako, kuchako, blacko, blacko, kabla.